that's us back. So you can see that we now have, that's Jessica's pile of Empire biscuits. This is how it looks. Do you want to just show that to the camera? Get a little bit closer to the camera. You can maybe go round, just so that people can see how it's mixed. Yep, perfect.
There we go.
Yeah. So it's not quite as a dough. What I wanted to just point out is that please be very, very careful with these, because these blades are sharp, and I have learnt to my misfortune how sharp these are, and they are. And it's one of those things where normally I just drop things in the sink waiting to be washed. That doesn't, that gets put to one side so that everybody can see it, so that my washer up can see it. Yep. And then you just empty it out, and like magic, we're going to have a dough. Okay, so we are just going to just mix it all together. And it's such a nice dough.
Nice, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Not too
And
sticky.
even the gluten-free one is even more so, because it's like it feels even more like corn flour, and corn flour has that lovely soft. Yeah. So we might need a little bit of flour. Right. And you can decide how big or how small you want it. Yeah. A little bit of flour, yeah. You can decide how big you want them.
Okay.
Personally, I didn't know what an Empire biscuit was until I came. You know, I was like, Empire biscuits, yeah. But I had some really big ones.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm bored now. I'm bored now,
Oh,
because it's hard.
How big was it though?
Oh, I'm talking probably you know.
That's a big one though.
But it wasn't nice either. It was hard, and I was like, no. And it had horrible jam in the middle of it, and I was like, and it had a cherry on the top. Yeah. So we can decide how big we want them. If I was making an afternoon tea, very often I'd make little biscuits to go with them. So I would use a tiny little one.
That's a good size.
And then in the tea room, what I found was that was the size that people liked, because it was a nice size. If I made them that size, people were like, well, can we have one to share? And I'm like,
even that size?
and yeah. So I was like, no, people don't want to share. So I started making them that size, and people like them better. So it's about, you know, what you want. So how big? Oh, and do you like a crinkle cut one, or do you like a straight edge one?
Oh, I like straight edge.
I do. I do.
But
Straight edge.
that's more of an Empire biscuit. A crinkle's for a scone.
Ah. So these are really good actually, these cutters, because you've got the straight edge and you've got the crinkle edge on both, so
nice.
you can choose. So what size would you like to make?
I'm going to go small, because when I do them for the macaroni and coffee morning, I want people to eat more.
Right, yes, yep.
And if it's just a mouthful, people just pop them in that way.
Yes, so I'm going to go that size, I think.
Okay.
So you're obviously going to get more out of yours. I will probably get in the region of maybe 20 cut out of this, which then makes 10 biscuits. But we'll see how we go. So you want a little bit of flour just to stop it sticking. Maybe just put some on your hands. And what you don't want to do, the other thing is when you're making, I'll move that out anyway. When you're making gluten-free biscuits, you don't have to worry about building up the gluten in the biscuits. So you can roll them out as many times as you want. But when you're making standard biscuits, you've not got to be too rough with them. You've not got to roll them out too much. So roll your flour your rolling pin rather than the top of the thing, and you're just going to roll them out. Like you want them, and just remember to keep moving it so that it's, you want them thick enough to be an Empire biscuit, but you don't want them so thin that they burn, because they can burn. So it's a lovely mixture, isn't it?
Yes, isn't it?
Yeah. So what would be your ideal topping on an lemon pie biscuit?
Jelly top. But that's mainly because everyone doesn't like them, so they pick them up and give them to me to get extra sweets.
So I'm thinking I'm going to just leave mine like that. Yep. Yep. And just like that there. And not that I'm asking Jessica to do things because I'm just asking her, but because I've moved my table so I can't actually get around that side. See, just up there we've got some boards.
Oh.
Yep. Let's just have two to start with. Already put them. I'll put mine there. And I've already put. You could either grease your tins, your trays, or you could put paper on. I like paper.
I like paper.
Yes. So like this. And just put a little bit of flour there. I'll tell you why. Because what you can do.
Oh, that's a good trick.
Yeah.
I like that.
And you're just going to cut them out. And if they come out, you can just put them, but otherwise just put them straight out. Sometimes they don't come out.
How much space between them?
A tiny little bit more than that.
A bit more space. Okay.
So yours will cook very quickly because yours are quite thin. Yep.
That's not quicker.
That's okay.
That's okay. We can use one's the tops and one's the bottoms.
So what's been, can you remember what your first professional illustration was?
First professional illustration. That's a good question. I'm on the spot now. I think it was probably one of the sets that I created for Firewalk Scotland for my friend Claire. She had a small business before her current business where she did mum blogging, and I did an illustration for her as well.
She did mum
blogging, so she was blogged about family life.
Oh right, okay.
Adventures and things. I think those were my first two.
Right.
I think the most exciting one was I drew a Viking walking over fire for the Firewalk business. That was a brilliant. That was really got a feel for doing corporate illustration with that one.
Yeah. And of course, for people who have Beatrix's book, Jessica was the fabulous illustrator for all the illustrations, and I mean, such fun we had when we met at Dunfermline in the Abbott Cafe, Abbott House Cafe, and I was just amazed that I'd say to you, "Oh, this is what I'm thinking of for this chapter," and you just start drawing it, you know.
But your imagination kicks in, and you're like, "Oh yes, I can envisage it."
I still think the funniest thing was when there was the chapter about when we all caught the norovirus down in England. I know. And so it was the very first time that I'd asked anybody to draw me and Mr. M in bed. You know? Because the first time I've been asked to draw people in bed. I know. Because that was the Christmas where we stayed. We spent 3 days in a very expensive hotel in bed. Unfortunately, it was in bed in between going in and out of the bathroom. Yes, because we caught when everybody else was catching COVID. We caught the norovirus. Yeah. So that's kind of they don't spread too much. Sometimes they do. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is we'll just swap the trays round. So what is it about drawing that you like?
That I like drawing. I like just bringing people's ideas to life. So.
Well, you certainly did that with Beatrix's book, yeah.
The things that you can get into a photo studio, the things that you can recreate in any other way.
Yeah.
Things that I really like to draw.
Yeah. So do you draw, are all your illustrations done by hand?
So I sketch everything with a pencil in a sketchbook, and then I ink it up before I photograph or scan it, and then I colour digitally if I'm colouring.
Right,
but
okay.
That said, the colouring isn't always digital. Sometimes it's I'll have painted a background or used a different tool to be the background, depending on different material, or have found something sometimes.
Right.
And then I'll scan that in and layer it up. It just means that my clients can then say, oh, actually, could that be a deeper purple or
right.
a richer green?
Okay.
And it means I have that ability to change things digitally, but keep the same lines, so the same line quality.
And which do you prefer, drawing with a pen and paper?
Always pen and paper.
Always pen.
I don't ever draw on a tablet.
Right.
I don't even have one.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is great fun. I've turned up to conferences before and they're like, where's your iPad? And I go, no, I don't do that.
Yeah. So it's
called a sketchbook.
So you go to meetings and you sketch out.
I sketch out what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's lots of fun. Lots of imaginative ideas quickly coming into a drawing or an illustration. Sometimes it's just a doodle, but it goes further.
Yeah. So why the Ricketty Desk? So your company is called the Ricketty Desk.
So my maiden name is Ricketts, and my original desk was a very wonky Victorian bureau.
Right.
That had a very bit of a lean and a wobble if you leant on it. And
right.
That was the name.
Ah.
Which is why Ricketty is spelt wrong.
Right.
As it would be, because it has two T's.
Yes.
So it's
yeah. And I will put links up as to where things come from. Yeah. So how did you get into drawing?
So when I had my son, like lots of people, I made the decision that I wasn't going back to the world of retail. I was working in a photo lab, but it was fun, but I no longer wanted to work for someone. I wanted to work for myself and be there for him and not pay someone else to do that.
Okay.
And yeah, that was the end. So I decided I was just made a friend's wedding stationery, or I was making my own wedding stationery, which led to making hers. So I decided that was what I was going to do.
Do you need a little bit more?
Yeah.
Make that last one.
Oh, you got a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit extra there.
Yeah.
Handy. So yeah, I decided I'd give that a go. I mean, there's been a lot of mistakes and different paths on the way. I started off making cards, and that'll be a little bit extra there.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, cards that would take me 4 hours and sell them for £3.50. Great business model. Wouldn't take any tips of that one. But then it grew, and then people started to say, no, actually, I want you to do bigger things, better things, and it finally grew. Took a long time, a lot of different paths to get to where I am.
So did you go to, are you trained from university as an illustrator? You went to art school.
I didn't do illustration, I did visual communication, which is graphic design, illustration, photography, all the things rolled into visually communicating ideas, I think. I'm not too sure.
Right, so we have our biscuits, different shapes, different sizes, and well, actually they're not different shapes because they're all circles.
They are all circles.
They are all circles. They are all circles.
There's probably a debate on some of those.
So we're going to pop these in the oven now, which again we will take a little bit of a break here, and these go into the oven at 180 degrees Fahrenheit, or in my oven they will go in at 160 because it's a fan oven. And if it was gas, it would be something else.
I don't know. 4? It's usually 4.
it will be something else, yeah. And they only take about 10 minutes to do. So we cook them for 10 minutes. You don't want them brown, because Empire biscuits are just slightly
golden.
Yeah. Slightly golden. And then you put them onto a cooling rack, let them cool, and then we're going to ice them and decide what we're going to put on the top of them. Okay, so we will come back, we will take a little intermission right now, and I should have a little theme tune for like Beyond the Tea Room, like Beyond the Tea Room, you know. So then we play that then. And then we'll cut, and then we'll come back. So we will come back in 15 minutes time when all these will be cooked.